Hello everyone. For those who don't know me, I'm Kat. I'm a wife, a homeschool mom, and an avid reader. For everyone else, welcome back. Today, apparently, is Romance Bookstore Day, and one of the local bookstores did a fun event for it, including a goodie bag and some sales and having a author there, along with a couple little other small groups, a coffee cart and a little flower stand. Really cute idea overall, and I had so much fun this morning. It was really neat talking to this local author, Christina Capri. It was an awesome time overall. So I thought I would show you some of the things I got from this shop, and then we're gonna get to reading. So let's look first at what I got. Alright, so first up, the things I purchased. I got a little annotation kit. In this, we have different post-it notes. It looks like some tea, a highlighter, some stickers. So I'll come back to opening that one up just a second. I got Lost and Lassoed by Lila Sage. This is the third book in the series, and I didn't have this one, so I'm really excited for that. I know why that happened. Okay, so Lost and Lassoed, and then this Walk of Fame. This was the local author, and she even signed it to me. So very excited to try this one. Readers of Emily Henry, Allie Hazelwood, and Carly Fortune will fall in love with this one. So definitely one that seems to fit right in my wheelhouse. And then I also got this badge holder, which I'm going to use for work. I'm not quite sure if I don't like this clip, and so I'm going to see if we can do some other sort of backing on it, just so that I can wear it in a way that is more comfortable to me, just because the only place I could think of having it with this would be like on my belt loop, but we have to wear our badges on our chest, so that won't really work on a belt loop, obviously. So I'll figure it out and see. Alright, as I said, I'll come back to that in a minute. Alright, now that I opened it up, I couldn't really do it one-handed. So there's a purple fine liner along with a purple highlighter. We have stickers, House of the Wind, Book Club, Cozy Up with Your Kindle, Novel in Progress, Don't Forget note card, or sticky notes, a green tea, and lemon and ginger herbal tea, and then the other. So we have plain gray. I thought, because of this sticker sitting on here, that they were designed, but they are not. That's just a sticker. And then some purple ones. And then All right, gotta love scam colors. A magnetic bookmark in a purple color. A purple bookshelf that you can write your books on. And then this looks like a notebook. Yeah. So a little notebook with date stamps on it. And then, so that's all of the annotation kit. And then they gave a goodie bag. And in here we have some candies and a tea, pumpkin spice chai. Very fall ready. I'm excited for that. All right. Then a free ebook. So free download for an ebook. A art card with a wolf on one side and a redhead on the other. I would assume some sort of Little Red Riding Hood. Blush podcast bookmark. A. Gordon bookmark. I would assume A. Gordon is an author. And then a advertisement for another book. Yeah. So another book, and then a Encyclopedia Brown bookmark. So let's see, we have, I'm trying to read it. Oh, okay. So the top one is Julie and the Wolves, or Julie of the Wolves, Esperanza Rising, Black Beauty, the Hatchet series, Anne of Green Gables, and Encyclopedia Brown. So just a bookmark of middle grade novels. All right. So now that we've opened our goodies, I am going to try to do some reading. I'm going to start A Kingdom of Salt and Stone by Liv Webster. I'm sorry. In this one, we have Maeve Willowwood, who has been given a gift from the gods, but the gift she's been given has devastating responsibilities, and it makes her life puts her life in danger. So she is appointed a guard / bodyguard, who's supposed to be watching her every move. And as she's trying to figure out how to move forward and adapt to her new lifestyle, she starts to find comfort in a pair of cerulean eyes. I'm assuming this is her guard. So there looks like it's going to be a good time in this one. So looking at the content warnings, there is, panic attacks, anxiety, PTSD, trauma, OCD, eating disorders, mild suicidal ideation. Yeah, something like that. And then it does have graphic sexual content gore, and curse words. So obviously not for everyone, but it is one that I'm going to give a shot. I love the beginning of the chapter pages. The background just is really cool. Those pages in particular, I think, are going to be a problem if I'm trying to read via my book light, just because it is a darker background on the first chapter page, but then after that it just reverts to traditional pages. So I'm going to get started and I will check in soon. I'll probably put some sprints or Pomodoro sprints on the TV and read that way at least until 4:30, 5 o'clock, and then I'll have to make dinner. But that's a problem for a little later. So I'm going to get reading and I'll check in soon. Alright, so I've been reading for a couple hours. I'm about a fourth of the way through A Kingdom of Salt and Stone by Liv Webster. This story is very interesting. So in this kingdom, certain people are gifted by the gods, and by their 21st, or on their 21st birthday, if they have been gifted, they will have a stone appear on their body. And the king has made a law that if you have been gifted, you have to serve 10 years as a soldier. So there's 2 years of training and then 10 years of being a soldier. Maeve, surprisingly to her family, ends up gifted. Usually, not always, but usually the gifting kind of follows in the families. But again, that's not like a hard and fast rule. And so Maeve's older sister desperately wanted to be gifted, but was not. And then Maeve did not want to be gifted. She didn't even want her 21st birthday to come. Well, it just so happened that Maeve does end up gifted, and she gets gifted by the most powerful of the goddesses, Blythe. I believe she's a goddess. Let me flip to the back. There's in the back of the book, there's a thing for the gods, like who the gods and goddesses are. Yeah, so it is goddess, and she's the goddess of the mind. It's really interesting that the goddess of the mind has chosen someone who deals with anxiety and panic attacks and intrusive thoughts and all of that to be the first person that she is gifted. Maeve had worked very hard to be able to control her anxiety and everything in day-to-day life, and now she's thrown into this whole different world, doing something that she never wanted to do. Overall, I'm really enjoying this. There's some world building, but it's kind of sprinkled in. So, like when you need to know something, the author uses the Soldier's Academy to kind of introduce that information to you if you need it. And then there are other times that the author kind of weaves it in naturally into the story, so you don't really get out of the plot to world build. And that's really an interesting way that it's done. Even, I feel that even Brandon Sanderson doesn't do it quite that way, where Sanderson has all of it building up to the climax, and then stuff just boom, 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 non-stop going. With a Kingdom of Salt and Stone, we kind of have everything's building, but it's kind of an even build, and the world building is just woven in without it feeling choppy. Sometimes, and I love Brandon Sanderson's writing, but I feel that his world building sometimes takes me out of the plot so that I can understand the world. And there's nothing wrong with that, but as a plot-driven reader, it's very nice to find an author who is able to weave it in the way Liv Webster seems to so far. So really enjoying it. As I said, I'm a fourth of the way through, and I have to go make dinner. So I'm gonna pause for now and put some dinner on, and then come back to it, because I'm really enjoying this one. I have a feeling it's Saturday. I have a feeling that I will be able to finish this book without any feeling pressure on myself to finish it before I do my Enchanted Fandom video, which actually you'll see before this vlog comes out. So just the way the cookie crumbled this time. But I'm gonna go make dinner, and I will then get back to it. Alright, so I am now halfway through A Kingdom of Salt and Stone, and things are really happening. We've gotten information about Blythe, the goddess. We've gotten the secret plots going on, and the romance between Maeve and why have I gone blank on his name? Oh my gosh. Sebastian has started to form. They both obviously seem to have feelings for each other, but nothing really has happened yet. So I am enjoying this. I was reading that time for about 55 minutes, and I read about 50-60 pages, so that was really nice, getting this big chunk done all in one day. I would say that it is quite possible that the reading slump is over, but we'll just have to see what happens after I finish this book, because depending on how this one goes might lead me into another one. I'm just hoping that doesn't happen. I don't often get book hangovers, so I'm not expecting one right now, but we'll just have to see. Again, I'm really enjoying this. There is so much going on. And the I'm curious, like I have suspicions about some of the events going on, and I think someone's gonna be very upset and have hurt feelings when things come to light. Now this book is all from Maeve's point of view, so we do not have dual point of view. So we're only getting her side of things. But there's a lot of foreshadowing going on, and I think something ugly is gonna happen. And I'm gonna leave it at that because I'm gonna end up accidentally spoiling the book if I'm correct. So I will check in soon. I probably won't check in again tonight because it's already 9:30, and I don't think I'm going to finish the book before bed. So I will check in soon, though. Alright, I have just finished The Kingdom of Salt and Stone. This book was so amazing. It's going to be a trilogy, which, like, is awesome because this world was so cool. But it also sucks because it was written in 2005 or 2025, and the next book is not out yet. So now I have to wait until the next book is out, and I am kind of scared that I am going to forget important details. But the way that this one ended was wild. So, Kingdom of Salt and Stone, I am giving this one 5 stars. I enjoyed it. I was a little worried when there were a few times that I was catching grammatical errors, like the wrong word was used or words were put in an order that, like, when you read it out loud, you're like, that's not right. Not always could I figure out exactly there was once that I couldn't figure out exactly the word that the author was meaning to use, but many times it was pretty simple to, instead of gave, it should have been whatever. I don't even remember the instances. It wasn't. Anyway, it was just little things, and there were a couple times, especially when they happened within just a few chapters, I was like, am I going to have to get my red pen out? But at the same time, it's truly not enough that the average reader would have been bothered by it. As an English teacher and getting ready to start having to grade papers again, I picked up on those a little more. But overall, I had a great time. As I was saying, I thought those grammatical errors were going to bring the stars down, or that there was going to be something even more, but none of that happened. It was phenomenal, and I have not wanted to stop reading this one since I started it, which is a really good sign for me. So, Kingdom of Salt and Stone, 5 stars. I am gonna say it is a 3 chili pepper. It's not super graphic in the in the scene that's there, but there is a lot of language in there that really paints the picture of what's going on. So 3 chili peppers, and I even went through, and as I was tabbing, I made myself a little guide. I had to check colors as well because I ran out of 2 colors, which I have found is pretty common when I'm reading a 550-page book. And then if you notice here at the end, I pretty much gave up tabbing. So this is the beginning of the book, this is the end of the book. But I didn't really set a tab color for like major events or anything like that. I just did the 2 main characters. I did one for world building. I did one for funny moments. I did one because this one talks a lot about the deities. So I tagged the deities, especially Blythe, because she's so important in this book. And then I did have some sexy moments along with one notable quote that's going to go in my journal. So I have had a wonderful time with this book, and I can't wait to see what comes next. So this is the Enchanted fandom pick for not July, because I have July's to open. May's Enchanted fandom. So I am just so floored with this book. I had a fantastic time with it, and I am just so great. But I now have a box to open. Alright, well, here we are. It is Tuesday afternoon. I spent my morning getting my first 5 weeks of lessons ready and then making copies. I gotta work a little bit more on British Lit, but I'm not, sorry, I have cat hair in the camera. I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to do that. I'm kind of on the fence. I have, in years past, I've done 3 weeks of Beowulf. We read Beowulf and Grendel. We read Beowulf and Grendel's mother. And then we read Beowulf and the Dragon. Those 3 parts. And I normally take 3 weeks to do that, while at home they're working on poetry. This year I think I'm going to change things up a little bit because I would love to do Canterbury Tales as well. So I'm going to do just Beowulf and Grendel as their work. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do have them read that part, and then in class we'll do some stations on all 3 parts. And then that way, if they want to, they can go home and finish the story if they want. I seriously doubt many of them are going to do that. But that was my morning. And now I'm ready to read. So I have Fever Dream by Elsie Silver. This is my probably smut book of the month, and I am really ready to dive into this one. I am currently 4 pages in. That's all I read last night. But I do have the audiobook, So I'm hoping that that's going to help a lot more of me going through it. So I am excited to start this one. This one is following Emmett and Julia. Emmett is a bull rider, a competitive bull rider, and to save his family's farm, he has decided to do a reality TV show, kind of like The Bachelor, but it sounds like they're only going to be dating, not getting married. And from what I remember of the description of this one is that Julia is not only Emmett's brother or Emmett's best friend's little sister, but she's also the production, she's a production analyst for the show. She's helping the producers with what she knows of the ranch and like the best places to record and all of that. But Emmett ends up falling for her instead of any of the other characters. All of this is in the description, so it's not really spoilers, because the whole plot is how they're keeping their relationship a secret and how they're going to handle this show, from what I understand. So I'm going to get into it with the audiobook. I'm already excited because the audio is dual cast, and so we're going to see how it goes, and I will let you know soon. Alright, so I am now halfway through Fever Dream by Elsie Silver. I am really enjoying this, even dealing with a migraine today. I know every time I get a migraine, I end up reading a lot more. A lot of it has to do with what I'm reading and what I can or shouldn't be doing. When I get a migraine, the best thing I can do is be as still as humanly possible in as dark of an environment as I can handle. In this room, when I'm not filming, I just have a lamp over across the room that gives enough light that I can see by. So it's very helpful, depending on how bad the migraine is. Sometimes I have to take my Kindle to my room and just do my Kindle and audiobook that way. But for today, it has been manageable with just a small amount of light. So far, where are we at? We are halfway. We're working on the 3rd week of the show. Some of the producers and the story producer seems to be a little bit onto the fact that Emmett likes Julia. And I had to look up what slow burn meant, because in most of the books I've read where I've classified it as slow burn, it's been both characters are denying their feelings, whereas everyone else around them is they like each other, they're meant to be, whatever. But in this one, we kind of twisted that slow burn a little bit. Both Julia and Emmett internally are talking about their feelings for each other, but they aren't making any type of declaration to the other. A lot of it because of the problems that would be caused with Emmett being the star of this Bachelor-esque type TV show, he is supposed to be dating the contestants, not the location consultant. So there's a little bit of that tripping both of them up. And they both understand the other's feeling, or where the other at least started at in the beginning of the book, with their feelings towards dating. So there's that aspect to it of them, like, kind of pushing down their feelings there for that reason. But also, we see this almost realistic development of their relationship, which I think is why I kind of looked at it and went, this doesn't feel slow burn. This just feels like a normal romance. But it's not a normal romance book. It's considered slow burn because nothing is happening on the page as far as what's going on. It's a more real to life, what you would expect. You know, here they've had close contact with each other for, I think Julia was there for 2 or 3 weeks before the show started. So 6 weeks or so, and they're not falling in bed with each other, which I totally understand. There's a lot to discover about someone. It's, you know, then you don't want to necessarily let sex be an issue. So, really enjoying this. I will say I'm really, really enjoying the fact that we're having this more realistic build of their relationship. So, technically, yes, it is a slow burn. And it's great. I'm really enjoying that real to life part. So, I think unless they do the third act breakup, which I don't know if they're going to, we'll just have to see. So unless there's that third act breakup or something other like that normal communication would have solved, I think I'm going to end up giving this one 5 stars because I'm having a great time with it. So I'm going to get back to it and I will check in at the end of the book. Oh, I was finally able to braid my hair back after today. I have finished Fever Dream. This was definitely very cute. I really, really enjoyed it, and I think the funniest part is that my favorite character in the book is Oma. Julia and Emmett, great characters, well written, but I love the Spitfire grandmother. Between the rifle scene and the delivering the salad scene, perfect. Perfect way for this character to be portrayed. While I followed along in this, I did listen to the audiobook, and I think that the 3 narrators did a amazing job doing this one. I really had a great time with this book. I had a moment where I was concerned where it was going. But Parker Parker helped a lot. And that's all I'm going to say on that. Overall, 5 stars. It's gonna be a 4 Chili Pepper book. There is, well, like, shoot, 3/4 of the book. Let's see, where's that first one? Yeah, this is where it, like, really kicked up, huh? Right? Yeah. Well, it's page 200, so I guess really about the first half of the book. And even beyond that, really, is nothing sexual happening, just a lot of longing between the two. And even, like, their private moments aren't very explicit. Their individual private moments aren't explicit before they get together, but then when they do get together, it definitely jumps in there. So 4 Chili Peppers, 5 stars, great read. I enjoyed this one so very much. And now, after having 2 highly enjoyed books, it is time for me to do my yearly teacher duty, bite the bullet, and pull out Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. This one, I personally don't care much for Jane Austen's writing. I mean, it's well written, don't get me wrong there. I'm just not a character-driven reader. And to me, it feels very flowery, a lot of unnecessary descriptors and adjectives. But I teach it and I read it. Alright, that was just a bug. I had my cameras on and saw something out of the corner of my eye. I thought someone was standing outside my neighborhood. Or outside my driveway. Back to Pride and Prejudice. I teach it and I read it every year because I want my students to see that just because we don't enjoy a book doesn't mean it doesn't have value. Just because a book that we read is not our favorite doesn't mean that it's not, that it can't give us some sort of character development in our own lives, or that we can't pull lessons from it. And because I know that many of them aren't going to enjoy any of the books that we read because they are older British novels. We read Pride and Prejudice, Beowulf. Well, we read part of Beowulf. We read a couple of the Canterbury Tales. We read Frankenstein. We read A Christmas Carol. We read, what else do we read? The Murder of Roger Ackroyd, which I think is everyone's favorite. 1984 and Macbeth. And so I know that, many of them are just powering through to get the grade. I get it. But here I am as their teacher, continuing to every year read a book that is not my favorite, not one that I necessarily enjoy, just to show them that the diligence matters and that I see where they're coming from when they say they don't like these books. Now, I will say most of my students enjoy Pride and Prejudice. And so I'm not torturing them, I don't think. I torture myself with that one. But on the flip side, they're more willing to read the books that they don't enjoy as much because I start the year off with the book that I don't enjoy as much. And I read it every year with them. So that's my next one. This one, I have tried just reading it the last 2 years. I think I'm going to try with the audiobook this year. Sorry, I'm going to try with the audiobook this year and see if I can get through it and enjoy it more. And find something new. So, we're going to do this, and I will check in throughout. I don't know if it's going to end up being on this video or if it's going to be the start of next week's. We'll just have to wait and see. But I really want to try to get some of this book read. So, I will see you guys soon. Well, I am about a third of the way. I just finished volume 1 of 3 in Pride and Prejudice. I have several different tabs going on here. The purple and red ones and the blue ones have to do with actual class stuff. So the purple ones are where the answers to the reading guide are. The blue and the red ones had to do with discussion in class, different years. And then now I have started, and I think I'm just going to each year add 2 as I go. But I've started doing an annotation based more on the characters of the book. So, this year, I've done Elizabeth, Mr. Darcy, Mr. Collins, and Mr. Wickham, along with some banter / funny moments. So that will get one side of the story this year kind of focused on. And then next year I'll probably do Charlotte, Lucas, Jane, Mr. Bingley, and the Bingley sisters. And maybe even Mr. or Mrs. Darcy. I'm not quite sure yet how I'll do that. But so just adding tabs as I go through the years of the different characters, because I know I'm teaching it for sure this year, and I'll teach it next year, or that's the current plan. And when I was talking to my mom, it may be something that I can pull in at the other school, but I don't know. Being the administrator may be plenty enough in that. So my thoughts so far. Because I know the storyline and the plot, I can, I guess, enjoy the character development a little bit more, this being the 5th rereading of this. I read it once before. I read it early on in my reading journey, and then in 2004. I read it 2005. I read it. It's now 2006. So this would be my fourth reread. So there's some, I'm able to better appreciate it. Is it my favorite? No. But I can appreciate it. I don't hate it. But I do see the merit in it. And as I've said before, I don't think that you can honestly teach British literature without teaching Jane Austen. She's just so pivotal, especially as far as the romance genre goes and female authors. So there's a lot on that, and I want to say that she and Mary Shelley were contemporaries. 1813. I think Mary Shelley was the first instance of the first writing of Frankenstein was either 1813 or 1817. So they definitely were contemporaries, and I don't know if one influenced the other. I should probably look that up before class starts. But I'm going to get back to it and see how things go from here. So far we've had Bingley and Darcy, and the Bingley family and Darcy, Mr. Darcy, have been at Netherfield and have left. Mr. Collins has proposed marriage to Elizabeth and ends up marrying Miss Lucas and has departed. And then now Wickham's kind of in the picture. Although Wickham does kind of overlap all of them. So we're about to hit the point. I think the next volume 2 is all Elizabeth traveling with her aunt and uncle and staying with them in the spring. So I'm going to keep going and see where things go from here. Alright, I have now finished Pride and Prejudice again. As I was listening to the third part of it, because it breaks it down into volume 1, 2, and 3, I think I have figured out what I don't like about this book, and that is the way that Austen kind of jumps over the build up of feelings. That it just got very much, it feels very abrupt that we go from both Elizabeth and Mr. Darcy not liking each other, to Mr. Darcy proposing marriage, to Elizabeth visiting the Pemberley estate and falling in love with Mr. Darcy there. It very, like I said, feels very abrupt, and I know that all of the events take place over the course of about a year, but at the same time, it just, to go from one extreme to the other just, it throws me off, I guess. So, that one is done, and I am ready to start something new that hopefully I will like a lot more. So I am going to end this vlog here and see what next week brings me. I'll see you later. Bye.